Alright guys, I'm back. I've finally gotten over my sickness, but now it looks like the market is coming down with a little bit of a cold. So I'm going to tell you guys why Bitcoin is headed to the downside and why Dogecoin is still yet to have its day. I'm sorry I missed the past couple of days, but I'm back now and I'm going to do everything I can to try to pump this market. But to make up for my absence, here's a little video of a Bisou playing in the snow. At the time of recording, Bitcoin is all the way back down to $67,552, but you wouldn't be able to tell that it's having much of a correction if you look at CoinMarketCap, because it's only down 1% on the day and 1.25% on the 7 days. Looking at the chart though, you can see that we are having a little bit of a cool off, with Bitcoin having a previous all-time high right here a couple of days ago at about $73,500. And now it looks like at the time of recording, we're down about 8.3%, but we were down all the way about 10% at the worst, which was yesterday. And we might actually continue to the downside here, but it looks like we're at the moment of truth as we are reaching the median line here on the Bollinger Bands. So hopefully we can find some support here and bounce back to the upside again. However, I've been talking about how we've been going pretty much straight up here, and it's maybe a little bit overhyped, especially since retail investors haven't really re-entered the market yet, and a cool off of 20 to 30% is really to be expected during bull markets because it happens all the time. But with us only being down 10% at the worst, people are already coming out and panicking, saying that this is the top of the market, even though the halving hasn't even happened yet, and we've never had ETFs pouring this much money into the market. Some people are saying that maybe we're having this little bit of a decline because of the Bitcoin ETF inflows dropping by 80%, as this article on Cointelegraph says. And if you look over here at CryptoSlate, you can see that we have had a little bit of a decline in the inflows, with us reaching a record of $1,045,000,000 that poured into the market on March 12th. And then over the next couple of days, it declined, with March 14th only having inflows of $132 million. A lot of people are saying that it's probably because of the decline in inflows that it's actually going down, but I think it's probably because we saw this record high of $1 billion mixed with a whole bunch of other stuff, but really this was just a sign that they might be able to take a little bit of profits, as there was a bunch of news articles saying that we were reaching record inflows and that we were probably going to be going to $100,000 in the next month or so. There's a few other things that kind of all happened at the same time, like according to this article on CoinDesk and Yahoo Finance, I guess, Democrats are asking the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, to block approval of more crypto ETPs or ETFs. Senators Jack Reed and Laponza Butler urged the SEC to block crypto ETPs, citing risks from poor disclosure and thin liquidity. As I said in a previous video, it looks like the parties are starting to choose side on whether they believe in cryptocurrency technology or if they're going to be attacking it and trying to hold it down. Every time I see somebody coming out and attacking cryptocurrency, it's almost always a Democrat, with Elizabeth Warren being probably the worst offender. And now that we're starting to see this election year ramp up, it looks like maybe we're going to be seeing the parties solidifying their stances on cryptocurrency, and I think it's going to be a big hot button issue because a lot of people vote with their wallets, and if those wallets are crypto wallets, then I guess they can only vote one way. Additionally, we got the Vanguard CEO coming out and doubling down, saying that they're not going to be offering any Bitcoin ETFs because it doesn't belong in a long-term portfolio and it's not a store of value, according to him. And this is the same kind of thing that Larry Fink of BlackRock was saying just a couple of years ago, and since he started to miss out on a whole bunch of money during the last bull market, since then he's actually changed his tune, and I think that the same thing is going to be happening with Vanguard. It's just a matter of time, but there is such a thing as first mover advantage, so if they don't hurry up and switch their tune pretty quickly, then they might lose a lot of money, and maybe the Vanguard ship is actually going to start sinking. Like I said, there's a lot of things going on in the crypto market that seem to be pushing it down right now, but the market makers are doing all that they can to try to shake you out of your hands. And as they push the market down, the people who panic sell or take any kind of profits are selling their bags right into the hands of the likes of BlackRock and these other ETF issuers.
But please understand that Vanguard CEO did not cause the dip. Also, spot ETF inflows waning factually, this is disingenuous. This is not the reason the Bitcoin's dipping. Here's the monthly volume for the 10 BTC ETFs. March is only half over, but has already smashed the numbers from February and January with 65 billion. And these corrections are not new. Like clockwork, this is when the ETFs buy. They've been happening since the approval of the ETF, January 12th. Again, this is when the ETFs buy. And corrections tend to happen when the Bitcoin funding rates get too frothy.
That was Altcoin Daily, and I kind of tend to agree with him on this one, actually. I don't really think that Vanguard pushed the market down, and the decline in inflows for BlackRock probably didn't push us down, actually. Like I said, it was probably because of all of those articles that said that Bitcoin ETF inflows were reaching record highs of $1 billion, and because we have been slightly overheated with Bitcoin just exploding to the upside, making new higher highs almost every single day. And so this was really just to be expected. But BlackRock and the other ETF issuers do continue to scoop up all of the bags that people are panic selling whenever we see a small dip like this. So maybe we're not going to continue seeing it decline, and maybe we're not going to see a 20 to 30% dip like we have in previous bull markets. And as I keep saying, if you've been holding on through the whole bear market, then it's probably pretty risky to try to trade these markets at a time like this whenever things are about to go fully parabolic. Just imagine if you sold right now anticipating another 10% decline, and then it just bounced right here because BlackRock made a huge purchase, shooting all the way up to about $80,000 and never giving you a chance to buy back in. Then you would just have to chase all of these pumpy candles, and your emotions will probably get the better of you. And since nobody knows what's going to happen, and maybe this time actually is different, I'm personally not going to be trading these markets. I'm just going to hold on with my diamond hands because I know that this thing is taking off like the internet did in the 90s. And anybody who has invested in Microsoft or Apple before the internet really took off is probably sitting on a yacht somewhere just laughing at all of us because they did the smart thing just sitting down and holding on to a world-changing technology, and I think I'm going to do the same thing. And Dogecoin, well, it may be a joke, but it could still be a world-changing technology as well. And Elon Musk is one of the people who has been introducing a lot of the most world-changing technology over the past decade or two. So maybe he knows a little bit about where this thing is headed, and he thinks that fate loves irony and that means Dogecoin might actually become the currency of the world. And I think one of the first big steps on getting there is seeing more merchants accept it for payments for their actual products and not just merch. Since 2021, Tesla has been accepting Dogecoin as payments for their merch, and people in the Dogecoin community have just been waiting for Elon Musk to announce that they're actually going to be accepting it for vehicles as well. Sir Doge the Coin posted this video on X with Elon Musk at Giga Berlin, and this was on March 13th.
When can you buy a Tesla with Dogecoin? Well, at some point, I think we should enable that. You can buy Tesla merch with Doge, which is cool. So Dogecoin to the moon. In fact, a lot of people maybe don't know the reason that I actually ended up sort of, somewhat endorsing Dogecoin was when I was walking around the factory at Tesla. Some people they were just, they were working the line, like not rich people or anything, and they said, "Can you please support Doge?" And then also, I was at SpaceX and also just, walking the factory, and some regular guys just said, "Hey, can you support Doge?" And I was like, you know what? Doge is the people's crypto, so I will support it because lots of rich people were supporting Bitcoin, but I was like, but the people on the line want me to support Doge, I will support Doge. So, Doge is for you.
Nice. So it looks like maybe Elon Musk is starting to re-enter the Dogecoin community, and maybe he's going to be pumping our bags pretty soon. He said that Tesla is going to be accepted for the actual vehicles and not just the merch. And the exact quote was, "At some point I think we should enable that, so maybe it's going to be happening soon." But at some point is pretty vague, and in my opinion, I think it would probably make the most sense if they actually made it possible whenever X Payments goes live on X. Then if Dogecoin was added to the payments platform, then maybe they could link it to the Tesla store through the app, And that would be one of the first big things that you could actually buy through the X Everything app platform that Elon Musk is trying to build. This would be a really big, explosive news for all of cryptocurrency, really, but especially Dogecoin. And honestly, I'm pretty surprised that Dogecoin didn't pump a little bit harder just on the news of Elon Musk saying this. I have been sick, but I didn't even hear about this, honestly. And I'm surprised that the Dogecoin community hasn't been pumping it up a little bit harder. Regardless, though, this is just the beginning, and really the only news that we've gotten for Dogecoin in this whole bull market so far is that we got a minor upgrade from the developers, and then Ferrari started to accept it for payment for their vehicles. Maybe this is going to light a fire up underneath Elon Musk and make him accept it for his vehicles just to stay in competition with the other luxury brands. But in my opinion, it's not just this that's going to push us up, and we've got a whole bunch of really great news coming for the Dogecoin community. It's just going to take a couple of months for people to start getting hyped up about this technology again. And I think that Dogecoin might actually be one of the keys to bringing that hype back to the space.
So I'm trying to be as effective as possible without going too far out the risk curve and having it all in dog with hat, which chart versus everything else looks incredible, as does Doge, bizarrely. I mean, Doge looks like it looks like that's about to explode. And it did exactly this time last cycle around as well. This is the kind of classic dog season. So it usually goes from this DeFi season, which we had a few months ago. Then the attention goes into meme season, and then it really goes into the kind of layer ones, layer twos, that kind of.
Like I've been saying, Dogecoin does run late in the cycle, and usually after Bitcoin has had a significant portion of its gains, then Dogecoin wakes up and decides to go on a run as well. We are reaching the part of the bull market where Dogecoin usually wakes up, and then the gains usually happen really fast as people start to move a little bit of their profits out of Bitcoin and other things like the DeFi stuff and move it into meme coins. And since Dogecoin is the original meme coin and everybody knows what it is, it just makes sense that Dogecoin would be the first one that people just throw money into.
I came up with a thesis here on this show on Tuesday. And that was that people keep asking, why aren't we getting mainstream attention and FOMO, Bitcoin, new all-time highs? And my new theory is that we don't get mainstream FOMO until Doge makes an all-time high, because that's the token that everybody bought and is still underwater on.
Now that was a really big revelation and something that I hadn't actually considered. But I think he's really onto something here, and that was Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of All Streets. And he's one of the biggest voices in the YouTube cryptocurrency community. And normie crypto investors, or whatever you want to call them, actually do listen to these guys and the other big cryptocurrency YouTubers. So just him saying that might actually make it true, because everybody thinking the same thing usually makes it a self-fulfilling prophecy. But also, Dogecoin was pretty much the biggest hyped up coin of the whole cryptocurrency market in the last bull run. Yeah, we had other coins that pumped up even further than that, percentage-wise, but there wasn't any that were being talked about more than Dogecoin, I don't think. And since a lot of people did buy the top, it might actually stand to reason that they're just waiting for Dogecoin to get them back into profits before their FOMO starts to actually kick in and they throw new money into the market.
I think you're probably right, and ETH as well. There's everybody from the NFT cycle, everything else. I think you're right. It hasn't really affected retail yet. Yes, it's got the degen crowd, those of us who are in the market and remained in the market, but we haven't sucked in. I'm not really getting messages from my friends. The only thing I'm getting is, well, you should sell some of your positions soon. I'm still getting some concerned friend faces, and I'm not really getting, hey, what should I be doing here? And that phase is still to come. It's bizarrely quiet. But also, don't forget, the economy's actually still not very strong. It's still pretty lackluster. And certainly on a global basis, it's not very strong. So people haven't got a lot of spending money either. So they're not throwing money around. It's just those of us who've been in crypto, because our economy is expanding. We've all got money to throw around. But, outside in the normie economy, there's no money to throw around, I think.
Yeah, it's just my feeling that as much as we'd like to believe that the masses came in for Bitcoin last cycle, they came in for Doge and they came in for NFTs when it was on Saturday Night Live, right? And those things are still massively underwater and suffering. So those people are not going to pay attention while they're massively underwater. They're just not.
The other guy right here is Raoul Pal, and he's actually one of my favorite cryptocurrency people. And I think he's absolutely brilliant. I love his macro views. And I was actually pretty shocked to hear him say that he's bullish on Dogecoin. But it makes a lot of sense to me. And if these guys are right, it looks like Dogecoin might actually be the one that leads the market in this bull run. Pretty much whenever Dogecoin starts to kick off, that means that retail investors are coming back, and that means the FOMO is kicking in and we're going to hit the parabolic phase. That time is just right around the corner. And if I go over here and look at the Dogecoin chart, you can see that we are having this significant retracement right now. And we are pretty much at the moment of truth with Dogecoin sitting at about 14.5 cents, or at really the only level of support that it has until it gets down to about 10 cents. So hopefully we will bounce right here and continue to the upside. But even if we do continue down all the way to 10 cents, wiping out 50% of the pump that we saw last week, then I just think this is going to be a really great opportunity to be buying the dip, because this bull market is just getting started. And as Dogecoin possibly even starts to fill out this cup and handle formation here that I've been talking about for a couple of weeks now, and wherever we find support, I think we're going to start exploding back to the upside with us not having much resistance between the high that we just hit at about 20 cents and this next level that we've interacted with quite a bit in the past at about 35 cents. The way that you tell the price target for one of these cup and handles is you take the depth of the cup and then you extend that from the breakout point on the handle, and that could have us seeing a price target of about 28 cents, which brings us into range of that level of resistance that I was just talking about. And once we break above that range, between about 30 and 35 cents being the level of resistance above us, it looks like we don't really have much left in between there and the all-time high. So maybe this thing can get going really pumpy really quickly, especially because if you go back here and look at the previous pump, you can see that most of these gains did happen within about a week. At the beginning of Dogecoin's parabolic phase on the last bull market, it pumped about 766% before retracing a total of about 65%. And then whenever everybody pretty much thought it was dead down there, it started exploding again and made it all the way up to about 75 cents. Coincidentally, it looks like we have currently dipped down almost exactly to the bottom of this lull in the middle of the previous bull market. And maybe since we found some significant support back there at that time, maybe we'll find it again here and see some kind of a repeat heading up to the all-time high here in the next couple of months. Or even weeks, I don't know. I know I've kind of been all over the place today, but I had a lot to catch up on due to my being absent. But I tried to leave you guys as prepared as I possibly could in my last video, telling you guys that we needed to catch some support here at about 14 to 15 cents, or we might head back down to 10. Now we are at the moment of truth, and if we can find some support here, then I'm looking for a pump above 20 cents, hopefully turning that into support before we head up to probably 35 cents or so. But over the next couple of days, I really don't know what's going to happen because we have been overextended, and really I think it would be healthy for us to continue to the downside. But we've never had all of the biggest institutions in the world buying up as much cryptocurrency as they can on any dip. So really we might not stay down for long, and we could skyrocket to the upside again, because the supply is going to get squeezed for Bitcoin here coming up pretty soon. And whenever that happens, I don't think anybody can foresee what the market is going to do because we've just never been in this situation before. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are we going to see what we've seen in previous bull markets with retracements of 20 to 30 or maybe even 40% in the middle of the bull market? Or is the institutions just going to buy up any dip that happens really quick and we'll just keep climbing higher? Either way, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. But most importantly, don't forget to do only good every day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.